You. We are 10 hours away from polls opening up. Idahoans will see mayoral and city council races, bonds, and levies from many local school districts are also on people's ballots.
And while some people have already voted, Ada and Canyon County say most voters will head to the polls tomorrow. Abby Davis spoke with election officials in both counties today about that. So I guess the question is, what are we expecting when it comes to voter turnout tomorrow, Abby?
Well, Ada County's clerk told me that they're on track for a record number of people to vote, but Canyon County's numbers so far, well, they're seeing a more typical year for an odd year election. Even though the polls don't open until 8 a.m. Tuesday.
This is the largest event that's taking place in the state of Idaho this year.
Some Idahoans already checked voting off of their to-do lists.
I took advantage of the early voting option.
We turned them in earlier today.
They aren't alone. Ada County Clerk Trent Triple says election workers spent Monday counting the number of absentee ballots.
It's a huge team effort.
So far, Triple says the numbers are promising.
We've had about 13, almost 14,000 in-person early votes. And as of today, we're approaching about 14,000 absentees that have been returned to us.
All said and done, Triple thinks between 100 to 120,000 people in Ada County will vote in this year's election.
The highest we've ever had in this kind of municipal nonpartisan election in the off years is 83,000, and that was back in 2019.
As for what's likely causing the increase,
we have a county-wide ballot initiative for an expansion of the jail for a bond. That means every voter is going to have an opportunity to have something on their ballot this year. The other thing is just simply growth. Since 2019, we've had 50,000 new registered voters.
Over in Canyon County,
we had about just under 2,500 early votes, and we've had just over 3,200 absentee ballots returned.
Spokesperson Joe Decker says early voting numbers don't indicate they'll break any records. But he says they're hopeful people will still turn out Tuesday.
These elections have historically been between 24 to 27% voter turnout, so, you know, we're pretty good, all things considered.
Of course, Decker says in an ideal world, more than 24 to 27% of registered voters would vote. But he says it can be hard to get people to the polls for local elections, even though he says local elections, well, those are the ones that impact people's daily lives more than presidential elections do.
I'm so glad you just touched on that. I was just going to say that. That's the very granular stuff that we see on a day-to-day basis. So
Plays out, exactly. All right. Thank you very much, Abby.